Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, had a couple denials coming out of the White House last couple of days. And the debate is whether or not the denials are true. Let's do this a different way. Let's just assume they are. Let's assume, against all previous history, that the President of the United States is telling the truth. That what he is saying, what's coming out of his administration, is accurate. Okay, so we're gonna make that assumption, and then we're gonna try to figure out what's next, what's left after the denial, what the options are. Okay, so we'll start with the tweet from this morning. If you don't know, he retweeted a scene from here in Florida in which a bunch of people were riding in golf carts and they were being protested. A bunch of his supporters were riding around in golf carts and people from the area were saying things to them. At which point one of his supporters screams out a term that is 100% associated with nationalist movements, with white movements. That caused an issue, and he said that he didn't hear it. Okay, so we're going to set aside the fact that it's at the beginning of the video. It is one of the most prominent things in the video, and that people in the crowd were like, did you hear that? It would have been almost impossible for this to be true. What he's saying is almost impossible to be true, but let's just pretend that it is. Okay, so why'd he tweet it then? What in the rest of that video did he think cast him in a positive light? What was the purpose of showing that in an area that is very red, very supportive of him, his supporters are being asked where their hoods are? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Most politicians know better than to draw attention to the criticisms of them. It doesn't make sense. There is no other reason to tweet that. It's an embarrassment to him. The fact that in the villages he's getting protested like that, that's an embarrassment. It shouldn't be happening. That's not something that should happen to a Republican president. So if we take his assumption as true, what does it mean? What's the alternate reason for him tweeting it? There's not one. The only reason that he would have tweeted that would be to highlight that remark and whistle to his base, because he thinks there's enough people who support that kind of rhetoric to get him reelected. Okay. So let's go to the other denial, the big one, about the intelligence about Russia. He's saying, the administration, their version is that they're not going to dispute the merits of the intelligence. They're not going to say that that's not true. But they're going to say that the president and the vice president weren't briefed on it. Okay, fine. They weren't briefed on it. Why exactly? During the middle of a peace process, would he not be briefed on it? Either they knew he wasn't going to act, or we have to at least entertain the possibility that there was something else going on inside the intelligence community that rendered this moot, like U.S. intelligence has actually infiltrated this Russian group and they were using it to pull surveillance on bad guys. We have to entertain that possibility. It's not a likely one, but we have to entertain it, because all that stuff's compartmentalized. The people that would be coming up with this assessment would not know that. So they could turn it in to be reported, and somebody higher up the chain could stop it. It's a possibility. It's not likely. So when we get rid of that, we have either they just knew he wasn't going to act on it, or knew he wasn't going to listen during the briefing, or whatever, or they didn't trust him. They didn't want to expose their means and methods, something we've talked about on this channel before. Secrets aren't really secret because of the information. They're secret because of how the information was obtained. So they don't want to disclose that to the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief, because, I don't know, he'd share it with Putin, he'd tweet it out, we don't know. There's no acceptable reason for him not to have been briefed on this at that time. In any situation, it would be information he needed. Even if it was something that was being orchestrated by U.S. intelligence, it's still something he would have needed to know. But he wasn't told it. So it's just mismanagement. He's not fit to lead the country. He's not fit to be Commander-in-Chief. This is based off of his denial. There's no situation in which this would be acceptable. Now, I want to add into that. Wasn't briefed on it at the time, but he knows now. What's the response been? Nothing. So I guess they were right not to brief him on it, because he's completely ineffectual. His denials get focused, they focus people on arguing whether or not they're true. Just accept them as true. 9 times out of 10, his denials make it worse. I would also point out that we did find out that in Tulsa, his staff removed the instructions to social distance in that stadium. So, yeah, there's our president out there doing good, leading from the front. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.